Aaron.
Yeah.
Why didn't you say it the first time I said Aaron?
Because it's pronounced Aaron.
You done messed up, Aaron.
Aaron is here, everyone. Welcome back for a little bit more SPTV, where every day is one step closer to the total collapse of Scientology. Today, we are talking a little bit about Scientology and a little bit about Jada Pinkett-Smith and Will Smith. Guys, there's so much we could talk about on this subject. I'm going to try to keep my thoughts organized and concise. I feel like the first video I did on this channel about Jada Pinkett-Smith and I guess Will Smith is when they invited Leah Remini onto Jada's Red Table Talk show. And Jada proceeded to absolutely lie her butt off on camera and to Leah Remini's face about what the extent of Jada's and Will's involvement in Scientology had been. And it was remarkable. I mean, they were putting Leah in this ridiculously uncomfortable position. Like, what's Leah going to do? Call Jada out as a liar right there on her own show when Jada bringing Leah onto her show was essentially a public message to all Scientologists that Jada and Will had officially left Scientology. You know, like, for her to call Jada out on her BS at that moment in time, in my opinion, would have been deeply inappropriate. And it's weird because Jada, and you know, I think for the part of the conversation that I'm recalling, Will wasn't on screen. Will wasn't at the table. So on the one hand, Jada's lying about how involved she was in Scientology. And on the other hand, by bringing Leah on her show and claiming to have never been a Scientologist, she is officially sending a message to all Scientologists that she has left. A weird situation. Okay, why are we talking about this now? Well, ever since that episode of Red Table Talk, I feel like Jada Pinkett-Smith has gradually been exposed more and more as just kind of a horrible, horrible person. Forgive me for saying so, but the evidence to me seems to indicate that. And what's happening right now is there's a gentleman named Brother Bilaal. I don't know what his real name is. I'm sure his real name's not Brother Bilaal, but he's a guy who's been very close to the Smiths for a very, very long time. And he is now speaking publicly about the Smiths, the Pinkett-Smiths, the Smiths. Some of the stuff that he's saying is stuff that you could never, ever say publicly about an A-list movie star without being sued into oblivion. And this guy's been going on all the podcasts saying crazy stuff. I'm not even going to try to repeat it. I'm not going to. By the way, the interview, I'm going to play you a clip of an interview where he's not talking about all the salacious stuff about the Smiths. He's talking about Jada recruiting people into Scientology. The interview that I'm going to show a clip from has over 1.3 million views. I've put a link to it in the description down below. The stuff this guy talks about is unbelievable. Again, I'm not going to get into it. It would not be tasteful for me to even get into it. I'll tell you, this interview that I'm about to play you a clip of has been floating around for about a month now. And when I first saw it, I didn't even consider using any part of this interview. First of all, I didn't know there was a section of the interview where he talked about Scientology. And also, I was convinced that this guy was a total fraud. Like, the stories that he's telling are the kind of stories that you're like, that couldn't possibly be true. This guy's just a fraud. And yet over the last few days, I've seen a lot of other very high profile people. One particular that comes to mind is D.L. Hughley, the comedian, actually vouching for this guy, saying that this guy is actually legitimate. I was like, oh my God. And then a whole bunch of you have emailed me this interview, the portion of this interview over the last week or two with the clip about Scientology. So we're just going to look at the clip about Scientology. But like I said, I put a link to the full interview in the description down below. And you're going to be fascinated to watch this thing if you're interested at all. I don't know. And I guess pop culture, celebrity news, whatever. Let's just take a look at this, guys. Please let me know in the live chat if the audio is fine for you guys once I hit play. But here we go.
I said, yo, I never went back. Never went back.
You didn't sign the papers?
I didn't sign the papers. I didn't talk to Will. I went to go stay with one of my friends, and I just disappeared for a minute. But this is the craziest thing ever. Guess who brought us back together?
Who?
Jada.
Really?
She calls me personally and says, I am having an event and I would like you to be there. She said, it's at the Celebrity Center.
Okay.
And I said, well, what is that? She said, oh, it's just a place where a bunch of celebrities get together and, you know, Will's going to be there. And I just want y'all to be happy. And, you know, I want y'all still to be friends. And this don't even sound like her. So I didn't go. I get a call from another one of her assistants and say, oh, Jada's having another event at the Celebrity Center and she wants you to be there. So I said, all right, give me the address. Give me all the information. I Google it. Guess what she was trying to get me to come?
Where?
To a Scientology center.
Oh.
I said, okay, no, thank you. You can't even make these stories up. You can't even make these stories up. So Will and I end up getting.
So the Celebrity Center is called the Scientology Center.
Yes. Yeah, but it's owned by the Church of Scientology.
Okay.
Which I have a whole chapter in the book about because Jada went in on that as well as Will. And that was the sickest display of behavior I've ever saw.
Give me some examples.
So all right, so we get back, even though I didn't go to Scientology Center, Will would, you know, have these little events at his house. But you have people from the church and Scientology there are trying to recruit people to get into Scientology. Then Will would give all these books to people. I believe the book was Dianetics or something like that.
Yeah.
And some different other ones.
I read that book.
Okay.
I was doing research years ago on Scientology. Never was interested in it, but I've always been fascinated with
I did read the book. I did read the book.
That's some bullshit.
Yes,
though.
yeah. And if you read it, you're like, this is a cult.
They hook you up to a machine.
Oh, man.
They press clear and all your depression is gone.
But you got to pay for it. Now, hey, Sister Tasha, listen, you can't leave the beautiful things out of situations.
You got to pay.
You got to put
I think the machine was like $2,000 or something.
Listen, then you got to pay for the courses. But I write, there's 2 chapters about that.
Okay.
Because they end up, you know, opening up a school and I don't even want to unpack that. But just to know, that is how me and Will got back together. They were trying to recruit me into Scientology. And it just never, that never played out.
Damn. Okay. So did Jada say anything to you? Like when she called, she just invited you and then...
She just called me. It was crazy. She called me out of the blue and invited me to the Celebrity Center. But when you hear Celebrity Center, you're not thinking about Scientology. You know, so I just happened to Google the address because I'm like, yo, are they trying to set me up? It's been about 3-4 months, you know? So I'm just like, this is odd. She know I don't really rock with her.
Yeah.
And she's made it perfectly clear that she don't like me.
Let's talk about that real quick. I mean, why? And I know you.
Okay, then they get off. I wish they had stayed on that subject for a little longer, but they didn't. Now, I might not have gone into a lot of detail in my preamble. Jada, when she brought Leah Remini onto her show, tried to pull this basically, we were never actually Scientologists. We are student of world religions, and we were just studying a little bit. But they really acted like, I don't know, Jada seems to be terribly confused about what the definition, what does it mean to be a Scientologist? Like, she certainly did not admit in the interview to actually recruiting other people into Scientology. Now, I've heard from people familiar with the matter that Jada, aside from just handing out Dianetics books at the parties she and Will were having at their house, I mean, Jada succeeded in bringing some other celebrities into Scientology. I believe, what was the name of the woman who played Martin Lawrence's wife on the TV show Martin? Is it Tisha Campbell? Is Tisha Campbell her name? Let me just Google that. Tisha Campbell. Yep, that's definitely her. I heard that Jada brought Tisha Campbell into Scientology and that Tisha Campbell became an actual Scientologist. That's just an example. Like, you can't not be a Scientologist and recruit other people into Scientology. And so anyway, this interview with Bilaal is the first time I've ever actually heard a public individual say on the record or comment on the record about Will and Jada actively recruiting for Scientology, and even at their own parties that they're having in their own house, having Scientology staff there. I don't know what, gifting Dianetics books. I mean, come on. I mean, my goodness. Anyway, there's not much more to this video that I'm doing right now other than just wanting to share this clip with you. If anyone has heard, like either mentions in interviews, podcasts, any print articles anywhere of anyone else who claims that Will or Jada got them into Scientology. Can you please bring it to my attention? Email me at growingupinscientology@gmail.com. I would super appreciate it. And guys, check out the whole interview. You're not gonna believe it. I don't even want to say anything more. I feel like I'll get myself into trouble. Guys, in 40 minutes, I'm doing an awesome live stream with Natalie Webster. And then later this evening, I'm doing another live stream with my lawyer friend, Zach. So stay tuned for that. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Maybe even hit that notification bell. Why not, guys? Thanks for hanging out with me. Thank you, as always, to everyone who watches until the very end. And I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here. Bye.